Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Hey, folks. I'm just finishing my setup here. All right. We are good to go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Q&A. As always, to guarantee I answer your question, although right now I still get through most of them, you need to be a Patreon backer. It costs just $1 per month at minimum, and you can submit a question for our weekly Q&A. That guarantees you that I will answer your question. We only have one question this week from our patron backers, which is a bit surprising because we are at a record high for patron backers right now. We have 21 patrons who have committed $159. I want to thank you guys for your support. But let's get right into this Q&A. Actually, before I get into the Q&A, I'll take a little Tylenol here. I don't know if you guys saw my one video I've done so far today. Even brand new. Where I hurt my shoulder. I talked about that in the second half of that video. But let's get right into the question here once I take my Tylenol. It's the shoulder that hurt, by the way. All right. So, the question we have from our patrons, the one question, comes from Taylor, and they ask, can you discuss your love for Secret of Mana? You said it was your favorite. In fact, here, I think I could share this one with you guys so you can actually see it. I forgot that I kind of set things up to do that. So if you see right there, the question, it says, can you discuss your love for Secret of Mana? You said it was your favorite game until Breath of the Wild came out. Why was it your favorite game? So, let's talk about that. Oh, I just realized why. There we go. All right. So, why was it my favorite game? And how did Breath of the Wild pass it, I believe, is the sum up of the question. All right. So, Secret of Mana, I brought this up briefly in my last video. Secret of Mana is my favorite game of all time until Breath of the Wild came out. Man, we're getting a lot of, I'm going to turn that down, we're getting a lot of new subs right now. So, because of that, I often don't talk about it. Secret of Mana is, to me, a perfect video game. I think, move this camera a little bit. I think the writing is perfect. I think the gameplay is perfect. I think the visuals are perfect. The world building is perfect. The dungeons are perfect. The crafting system is perfect. The combat system is perfect. The characters are perfect. There is not a single fault I can find with Secret of Mana, the original release, not the remake. And it's all about really, obviously, personal taste. I grew up with Secret of Mana, so there's obviously an affinity I have towards that. Although, it's interesting because I actually prefer most of today's games over the classics. I usually don't have, like, nostalgia blinding my viewpoint of Secret of Mana. But, in this case, it's just everything about the game it personifies everything I love about video games in Secret of Mana. The fantastic combat, the storytelling. I know some people think the storytelling is weak. I don't really care. I'm not those people. Everything about the game is just, it personifies literally everything I love about video games. Not only did I play that game during a rough patch in my life, which obviously leaves a lasting impression. Hello, nostalgia. It's just, even today when I play it, it's just such a magical experience. It to me is like playing Breath of the Wild, except every time I play Secret of Mana, it's like I'm playing it again for the first time. And I've never had, not even Breath of the Wild, that's now my favorite game, does that. When I play Breath of the Wild, it's like, okay, I played this before. When I play Secret of Mana, yeah, I know I played it. I know what's going to happen. And it's still got that brand new magical feeling every time. And I don't know why that's the case for me. I really can't explain it. It's the only video game I play that's done that to me. Even after Breath of the Wild topped it. Now, why has Breath of the Wild topped it? One, because I got that magical feeling playing Breath of the Wild. Two, I think the combat system, the crafting system, and the world building is better in Breath of the Wild. And it's like, oh, but you just said that it's perfect in Secret of Mana. It's perfect for the 2D space. I actually prefer 3D environments more than I prefer 2D ones. But for what Secret of Mana is, it's perfect. For Breath of the Wild, I like its world better because it's like the full realization of what I would think Secret of Mana would be in a 3D space. And obviously, it's a Zelda game. I love Zelda games. Yes, it has faults. It has things it can do better. And I'm sure some people will find fault with Secret of Mana and find things it can do better. But to me, Secret of Mana is perfect. Breath of the Wild is not perfect, but it takes a lot of things I love from Secret of Mana and does them better. And that's enough to push Breath of the Wild over the top for me, even though I don't think it's as perfect as Secret of Mana. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's kind of personal preference, right? I prefer 3D games, but somehow Secret of Mana was able to stay on top for all these years until Breath of the Wild. So I really hope that makes sense. Anyways, that's the only Patreon question we have. Let's get to the chat. So we're going to get through a lot of questions today. Now, Austin, first off, thank you everyone for viewing. Again, patreon.com/Nintendo Prime to show support. We also have a donation link, I think, down on YouTube. And you can go to gawkbox.com/Nintendo Prime, support us for free with your mobile device, blah, 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 blah. You guys know the drill. So Austin Ruano says, Mario Odyssey, final thoughts, and you think a new Mario IP or Odyssey 2? All right, so that's two questions. First off, Mario Odyssey, final thoughts. I don't have final thoughts yet. I beat the story. I can tell you that it is my favorite story in a mainline Mario game so far. So not counting like Super Mario RPG, or any of those outlying side dishes. When we talk about just the mainline of Mario games, it is my favorite Mario story. So that's awesome. The gameplay is fantastic. The capture mechanic, I think, is far and away, maybe not far and away, but on par, I guess, with the some of my favorite power-ups, like the Tanuki suit and stuff. Instead of like putting on a suit, you just become the thing. It's definitely got a lot of extra side dishes and side missions. I love the online leaderboards, even though clearly some people are cheating on those leaderboards. I still like the online leaderboards. I still like the competitive nature of some of that stuff that makes you want to come back and even best just your friends on Switch. I mean, HMK, if you're watching right now, I've seen some of your times on this stuff. I'm planning to beat it. It's going to happen. When I jump ahead of you, don't get jealous. But yeah, I haven't really played much of the post game yet. So without playing a bunch of the post game, which to me is a huge part of Mario games, is what happens after you beat the story. At least that's been a big part, really, for me since Mario 64. I have to wait. I have no final thoughts yet until I play a heck of a lot more of the post game. I'm only at like 210, 220 moons. So I have a long ways to go to figure out the rest of the post game. But so far, pretty fun, pretty excited. I have nothing but positive things to say for now. But we'll see what happens when I play more of it. As for a new IP or Mario Odyssey 2, I think they're just going to spit out an Odyssey 2. That seems, if you look at what they've done in the history when they have a big successful game like they had with Galaxy 2. You had it with Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, which is kind of like a 64 too. Yeah, they're going to spit out another one. That's just what they're going to do. It'll probably come 2 years from now. So 2019, you'll probably see a Super Mario Odyssey 2. It won't sell as well. It'll probably be a better game. Like I think Galaxy 2 is a better game than Galaxy. But obviously it won't sell as well. But it'll still do pretty good. And that's all right. And I think we're going to get a 2D Mario. I don't know if it's going to be a new Mario Maker or the current Mario Maker ported, or if it's going to be like a new Super Mario Bros. Kind of game. I have no idea, but they're gonna squeeze a 2D Mario in on this platform, especially if they're planning to sell 30 million units. 2D Mario games have always outsold the 3D games, so they obviously would try to get a 2D game on Switch eventually. The question is, will it be before Odyssey 2 or after? I don't know. David Tappy says, I can see your Nintendo Switch behind you. Can I keep you? Yeah, it's still set up. That's the box. My actual Switch is up here. That's just a box. That's set up from a podcast recording. We had to record our podcast early this week. I should really send that off to our editor. Anyways, we're changing up the podcast a little bit. Maybe I'll talk about that if I run out of questions. Getting ready to not get frustrated. LOL. Is that the reason why you're taking Tylenol? Because their questions can be stupid. No. All right. So if you didn't see my one video I did today, one, I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. Two, I had a really bad incident happen at Walmart today. And three, I fell down the stairs and hurt my shoulder. And it's pretty bad. I couldn't even, like, now I can lift it and I have full range of motion, but it really, really hurts. I probably should have went to the doctor, but, you know, avoiding those medical bills until I feel like, I don't think anything's torn. Maybe there's a strain, which is a slight tear. I don't know, but it really hurts. That's why I'm taking the Tylenol. I was trying not to wince, but then you had to ask about it, so of course. And I talked about it in my video earlier today. Let me see. A really good question, make me speechless. Okay, Austin Riano says, Mario Odyssey, final thoughts. You think? Okay, yeah, sorry, already answered that one. Oster Games Man says, how do you feel about Sonic Forces for Switch going on sale for $25 on Black Friday? Holy Bama! To me, that means that they definitely saw the critic ratings. They've seen the day one sales. Sonic Forces it bombed. And they are trying to get rid of units as fast as possible, whether it is Sega telling them to reduce the price or if it's the retailers being like, look, we can't get rid of these things. When I was at Walmart today, I always walk by the gaming section of Walmart just to see what's going on. And a lot of the Switch games were really, really low, except for Sonic Forces, where it looked like they had 30 copies of them just like stacked in there and they couldn't get rid of them. So being reduced to $25 because no one's buying it, I'm not really that surprised. Some people actually think the game's okay, but that's the thing. It feels like this Sonic game is just okay. And I mean, okay games are usually not worth paying full price for. Now, $25, I might pick up Sonic Forces for $25. I might be worth $25. Now, I heard it's really short. You beat it in like 3 hours, but for $25, as long as you have a decent time with it, I think that's okay. David Tabby says, well, this is not a good question, but how do I feel about the Nintendo Switch doing good? I mean, awesome. It should, what we're seeing with third parties is we're seeing them starting to commit content to the platform. So obviously it's selling well is good for me because I'm going to get more games from third parties that I want to play. So yeah, I mean, that's obviously a very, very good thing. It's good for Nintendo. Nintendo's a multi-billion-dollar company. I don't really care if they make money or not. But I do care that the platform that I'm enjoying does well. Because if it does well, that means we're going to get more games, both from Nintendo and third parties. So it doing well means that we should have so many games to play in 2018 that there's no way in heck I'll ever be able to buy them all. Because there should just be so many of them. I can't even buy all the ones from this year, so 2018 is probably going to have even double the releases, potentially. Let me see here. Duo Master trying to give people advice. See, I go back and read comments. So usually we don't have enough people commenting yet for me to not be able to read old questions. Actually, if you asked a question, I'm going to go over to the beginning of the chat because sometimes the chat jumps around if I keep staying at the top. Just ask your questions now. So if you asked them before, re-ask them. Especially if I forget to get to them. So Blank Floof says Sonic Forces is only 3 hours. Do you see $25 in value in that? Some games are worth it. That 3 hours could be amazing. I don't know. I mean, I feel like $20 would be a better price for that 15 maybe, but for 25, I mean, I don't know. Depends on if it's replayable, you know. Does it have good replay value? That I don't know yet, if it has good replay value. I definitely don't think it's worth the price they launched for. Let's see here. Another question. Solo Jones says, if you could pick one Zelda game remade for Switch, what would it be? Breath of the Wild! No, I'm just kidding. Zelda 2. I love Zelda 2. It was my favorite Zelda game before Breath of the Wild. I want a Zelda 2 remake. I don't care if they remake it in the same style it currently is with updated visuals, or if they bring it into a 3D environment somehow with crazy platforming. I don't know what they would do, but I want to see it happen. In fact, any of the the top-down games remade to a 3D style, I think would just be really, really cool. But yeah, obviously Zelda 2 used to be my favorite Zelda game, so I want it to come back in a meaningful way that's going to make people want to play it. Not just like, oh my gosh, you can get it now through Nintendo's online system free this month. Like, that's great, but that's not bringing it back. That's just giving us what we already had. Let me see. I'm going to scroll up a bit. Ooh, we have a $5 super chat. Thank you so much to Josh Walker. Thank you for your super chat. And he says, always enjoy your videos. Love to support good content. Cheers from Australia. Thank you so much for your support, Josh. I greatly appreciate it. In fact, weren't you also a new backer on Patreon? I can't remember. I had a new backer join today on Patreon, so I think it started with a J. But thank you so much, Josh. That's awesome. That's another way to also guarantee, if you don't want to hit us up on Patreon, you can also use that system to guarantee I read whatever comment you want me to read. I'll read any comment you put up as long as it's appropriate. Not trying to get my channel here kicked off for inappropriate stuff. Let's see what some other people said here. Duo Master says, started Secret of Mana yesterday after finishing Odyssey. It's got a slow start. How long is the average play session of the game? As long as you want. I get really, really in-depth. When I play Secret of Mana, I get engrossed. So it could take me 100 hours. But an average, you're looking probably 30 to 40 hours. If you've never played it before, definitely 30 to 40. If you have, you can go through it quicker than that. But why would you want to? But yeah, the start of it's a little slow. But that's why it's really nice for people who are kind of getting introduced into action-adventure games. Because it really brings you onto the mechanics at a nice pace. Which is great. Because the mechanics in it are awesome. Jacob Bernstein says, what do I think about Doom? Haven't played it yet. So I think it looks great so far from what I've seen. I have my pre-order, technically $10 down on it right now. Don't have the rest of the money to pay it off. Won't have the money till next week, so I won't be playing Doom till next week. So, wish I was playing it right now. I wish I was playing it right now instead of this live stream, to be honest. But, it's life. Super Awesome says, do I think there will be a Super Mario Bros. 1 remake? No. Nope, I don't think they're going to do that. All right, we're going to scroll down. Eric Cerebo says, hey, Nintendo Prime, I saw your Breath of the Wild video today. Yeah, I hope you liked it. That video took a lot of time, a lot more time than I planned, and I recorded it literally right after well, not literally, after I cleaned up the taco mess with a vacuum cleaner. And here's the thing with the vacuum. That means the entire vacuum cleaner smells like tacos. But I didn't know what else to do. I was in extreme pain, and there was tacos just everywhere. So yeah, eventually I'm going to have to take the vacuum cleaner apart and wash it, because I don't even know how to wash a vacuum cleaner, but I'll have to figure out a way to run some bleach through it or something, because otherwise that taco smells fine now, but it's going to smell like rotten meat or something later, even though I've emptied the container, obviously. But rough day today. Rough day. The only thing that's nice is that the Milwaukee Bucks play tonight, and they just got Eric Bledsoe, so I'm really excited to watch that. That's actually why I'm doing this live stream early, is because I want to watch the full Bucks game instead of having it on up here and going back and forth. I can actually kind of sort of watch it, because I'm still going to be working, but I just won't be live streaming that. But that's 3 hours from now, so we're a long ways away. Austin Rudano says, Doom at 720p and 30 FPS with dips. Small dips, but dips. For $59.99. It's tough buy for me, especially if you got an Xbox. But the thing is, if you don't care about taking Doom on the go, don't get it if you already have it, obviously. Or if you have other platforms. Get games on the platforms you want them on that perform the way you want them to perform. Let me see. David Tapia says, oh, maybe I busted my rotator cuff. Possible. The way I landed on it, I don't think I did, but Hope you can move it really good. Pop those Tylenols if you feel the pain. No bad idea. You should not avoid those medical bills. You need to get... Yeah. Well, the thing is, I have free health insurance at the moment. I'm on the state health insurance plan until January, so I really should take advantage of that since most of my medical bills are 100% free. And I'll probably get it looked at. If I end up needing surgery or something, I'm sure... I mean, it hurts. I'm sure it'll be fine. I feel like I've had worse injuries. That's just the worst fall I've had. I mean, technically I had a worse fall when I was a kid when I broke my arm, but I really didn't fall that hard. I just landed weird when I was a kid. This one was a bad fall. I'm very lucky I didn't land on my head or my neck because I've not tumbled and fell that hard ever in my entire life. First time I've ever fallen that I've actually been scared because I couldn't control what was about to happen. I even, you could say, oh, tuck and roll like Link, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work because you could roll and end up smashing your head. And the last thing I wanted to do was knock myself out, especially with my 2-year-old upstairs taking a nap. Me knocking myself out or potentially severing my neck wouldn't have been a good... I'm more worried about him and what could happen to him than what could happen to me being paralyzed or something crazy. So I got lucky today. All right, I'll move on to some question. If you're wondering what happened, I know it's a long video I did today, but yeah, go watch that video. The last 13 minutes of it is where I talk about my day and my history with depression and blah, blah, and what happened. Yeah, it sucked. It hurt. Doom is a shooter game, Elizabeth Ballinger. So Elizabeth Ballinger says, is Doom a shooter game? Yes. Yes, it is. A very high-action shooter game. It's not typical like cover based like a lot of shooters are. You cover and you're avoiding. Like, no, you want to get right in that action and go nuts. You still have to learn how to dodge and stuff. But yeah. Let's see. SUCC me. I've already said it. There was multiple things that happened today, but why I'm popping pills and talking about my shoulder. Popping pills. It's just Tylenol. It's not like it's prescription meds. Is because I took a really, really bad spill down my steps today when I was actually coming to work. Right before I made my last video, and I talked about it during my last video. So that's why I said, if you go to that video, you'll hear kind of what happened. There's other things that happened today, but that was that's what I'm still feeling now, is the pain from that. I really messed up my shoulder. All right. He says, did you talk about stuff you said in that stream from a while ago? I don't know what stuff you're talking about. You got to specify what you're talking about. Austin Rihanna says, when do you think Sega's going to give up on the Sonic franchise? I don't think they're going to give up on the Sonic franchise. And here's the thing. I don't think they need to give up on the Sonic franchise. I think what Sega needs to realize is they themselves cannot create good Sonic games. They need to do things like they did with Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania was fantastic. It's the best Sonic game released since like the 90s. They need to let the team that made Sonic Mania continue to make games like that. And there's a team right now, I think, that's trying to remake Sonic 06. This group of fans trying to remake Sonic 06 into a good game. And if they pull that off, Sega should hire them to create new 3D Sonic games. So I think that what Sega needs to do is get some fresh talent in, some US-based talent that understands the appeal of Sonic in the first place and let them create the games. Because it's very clear that Sonic Japan, and even when they tried hiring people at like Big Red Button, they obviously have no idea what makes a good Sonic game. It just happens. They're just out of touch with what people want out of Sonic. So I don't think that they're going to give up on the Sonic franchise, but I feel like they need to shift how they're going to make new games in the future by them literally not making them, them hiring on some of these fan people to make them like they did with Sonic Mania. Which I hope that wasn't a one-off. I hope that there's going to be a Sonic Mania 2 or like another Sonic game made by that team. I hope that it's not just a one-time thing they did with that group. Duo Master says, it's a good thing you weren't paralyzed. How would you be able to dance? Well, if I was paralyzed from the neck down, you just do, if I can't even do this, you just, see my eyebrows moving? I'd find a way to dance with my face. That's right. I've become like the Guinness World Record holder on face dancing, like the longest face dance ever. Tony Konami Kuran says, which middleware engine is the most effective on Switch? Unreal 4, Unity, Snowdrop, or ID Tech 6? I can't tell you that because I'm not a developer. But what I can say is that Unreal Engine 4 and Unity were officially supported for Switch day one. Nintendo worked directly with the people behind those engines to make them fully compatible on their platform. So those engines for sure run extremely well on Switch. Now, Snowdrop with Mario + Rabbids Kingdom Battle runs well as for that game. We don't know what additional optimizations might need to be done to get like The Division, or if the next Assassin's Creed game is made on Snowdrop. Ubisoft is kind of like not saying much about it. They just said, hey, look, Snowdrop ran well when we first put it on there, but we don't know. We don't know much else besides that because Nintendo didn't work with them directly to make Snowdrop run. ID Tech 6, again, I think that's what Doom runs on, what Wolfenstein runs on. Obviously, Doom's looking good. It's probably, it's hard to know because we haven't had a game built from the ground up for Switch with ID Tech 6 yet. So it's hard to know what that capability is. Like, Wolfenstein 2 is coming, but again, that's a port. Whatever game Bethesda does next that's built from the ground up for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch from like the very beginning, I think that's when we're going to see the true capabilities of ID Tech 6. But again, right now I have to go Unreal Engine 4 and Unity, and then after that it's kind of up in the air because I don't think either one of those techs have been fully optimized yet for Switch. Avery Carroll says, could Final Fantasy come to Switch? Yeah. Square Enix has basically said any and all IPs are open to coming to Switch. That includes Final Fantasy. That's their biggest IP. So, yeah, Final Fantasy could come to Switch. About my life in Zelda Informer. I talked about that on stream a long time ago. So why would I talk about that again? That's something I've talked about before. Let me see here. Ugh. I hate how I sit in chairs. I sit so weird in chairs. I always have to adjust myself. But I feel uncomfortable when I sit in what's a comfortable position for most people. All right, let me go to the beginning here. There was a good question there, but again, the chat's moving pretty quick today. So if you've asked a question and I haven't answered it, again, feel free to re-ask it. I will try to get to it. Again, you want to guarantee your question gets asked, especially during this stream, you're going to have to super chat it up. Because I know that I'm actually missing out on some questions here. Let's see here. Today, Capcom said they would support Switch next year, specifically Ace Attorney. I know. I was actually going to make a video on that next, but we'll see. Think there's anything to be excited about since I've lost faith in Capcom. I really wanted Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I think Capcom, because we know they've made some comments. I've reported on them. I feel like Capcom is kind of in this, we didn't think the Switch was going to be good, so we did this Monster Hunter Worlds thing, and we were just going to do the bare minimum, importing Monster Hunter Double Cross and some other games, Street Fighter 2, blah, blah, blah. And then they realized, holy crap, our games are selling well. The Switch is selling phenomenal. We need to do something. Ace Attorney is one of the cheapest things they can do. That's always been on the 3DS, so it makes sense to bring that over to Switch. And I feel like they're in a wait and see. They want to wait and see how Monster Hunter Worlds performs before they decide to make another Monster Hunter game for Switch, or if they make a game for Switch at all like that. I feel like Capcom is kind of... They're probably going to wait and see now what Ace Attorney does, since it's a brand new game they're making. If that performs well, I think Capcom's still in that like panic mode. Like, should we have gone all in on Switch? Should we have not? They don't know. So we're going to throw Ace Attorney and see what happens. And if that does well as well, then you can be like, okay, we should probably start bringing like all of our games moving forward. Or maybe they'll just keep old porting games. I don't know. Austin Rana says, EA buying out Respawn Entity. What does this mean for Titanfall 3? It means, one, Titanfall 3 is going to happen. They weren't going to buy because right now I don't even know if Titanfall 3 would have happened because Titanfall 2 didn't sell very well, or didn't sell as well as they hoped. But them buying Respawn ensures that obviously they bought Respawn so they can make Titanfall 3. The reason that they like an IP like Titanfall is because it is kind of just like other shooters. It's a good IP to shoe in microtransactions and loot boxes. And when I say good IP, I mean that it's the methodology to do loot boxes and microtransactions in a game like Titanfall already exist. So it's easier for them to do that. That's why they bought the IP. So even if Titanfall isn't as big a seller as Battlefield or whatever, Battlefront 2, it won't matter as long as the microtransactions and the loot boxes are highly profitable. So that's where they bought it. I feel like the low risk, because I feel like EA on their first Titanfall 3 game is going to make back the investment in Titanfall 3 and the money they spent on the company. I feel like it's going to be a profitable venture for EA, but obviously the trending thought is EA is going to close the studio. And here's something interesting about that, because I've been like a lot of you guys. I throw a lot of shade at EA. As much as I love some of the games they have, they've obviously killed a bunch of studios. And every time they buy a studio, it seems like that studio is going to close. Visceral Studios, I think, was the first time they closed an internal studio they created. But here's the thing. Easy Allies podcast this week. I just finished watching it today. By the way, I support them on Patreon. They're fantastic. I love their content. So I started watching on Wednesday with early access, but I finished it today. And there was a very interesting thing they went over. A lawyer submitted this reasoning why EA does the things they do with microtransactions and DLC and closing studios and buying up Respawn and blah, blah, blah. There's a thing called a fiduciary duty to your investors. Essentially, if EA did not explore and pursue the absolute best ways to maximize profit with an investment, basically with stockholders' money, they could actually get sued by the stockholders for not pursuing these avenues. This is actually true with stockholders of Nintendo as well. Laws are a little different in Japan, but they could be sued if they didn't pursue in the best interest of their stockholders' money. This is why Nintendo actually seems to keep buying back large amounts of stock, because when they buy back that stock, Nintendo gets more and more control over what they are doing. So like, say Nintendo never wanted to make mobile games. Well, they would need to buy back a significant amount of stock to stop making mobile games, because their investors are basically going to sue them if they don't do it. Now for EA, basically EA has to explore microtransactions and loot boxes and all this stuff. And if they explore it, and if in exploring it they find out that it's super, super profitable, they have to keep pursuing it, because video games are a for-profit business. So when you have these investors in your company, if you don't pursue the best possible path for profits, then they could sue you. And if EA got sued by their own investors, they would lose that investment money, the shares would become worthless, and that's when EA can go under. So EA's top brass, as much as we get mad at them, they're kind of stuck that way. The same with Ubisoft, the same with most of the Western studios. The weird thing is how Bethesda gets away with it, but pretty much any publicly traded company has to pursue the most profit. Like when we wonder, why was everyone chasing Call of Duty now? Why are companies chasing player unknown Battlegrounds now? Why are they chasing MOBAs? Why are they chasing MMOs back when World of Warcraft blew up? Why do they keep chasing all these ideas for money making? Because they have to. If they don't do it, they can literally be sued by the people that own the stock. So with that in mind now, with that knowledge, you almost feel bad for these companies. They're kind of stuck because they have to pursue what is the most profitable venture. And yeah, single-player games are not going to be the most profitable venture. So EA is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Thankfully, they still make some games I care about, but it is what it is. I didn't know this from a legal perspective either. So like, that's very interesting that if they didn't do this kind of stuff, they can get sued and they can go under. So, all right. Let's see what the most recent question is here. I'm just scrolling up, see, because I don't see a question right now. There's a bunch of people talking about Xenoblade. Just trying to find a question. A question. If you guys are asking new questions, I'll get to them in a second. I'm just scrolling up. Ryuku-chan says, do I think Hatsune Miku Future Tone on Switch could shift units in Japan? I don't know. I don't know the history behind that game or that franchise, so I'm not sure. Like, is that a show over there in anime? I don't actually know. That's the first time I've ever heard of it. I obviously don't follow a lot of things in Japan that aren't like official Nintendo first party releases, unless it's like extremely, extremely well known, like a super popular, like you would hear about it just by looking at the sales charts kind of games. Tony Konami Kuran says, is Xenoblade Chronicles 2, do you think Pyra's blade weapon is a second generation Monado? Here's the thing. Never played a Xenoblade game. Now, I think I know what the Monado is. Isn't that like the main red weapon or whatever of whatever the main character was in the first game? If that's the case, then sure, that blade weapon looks a little bit similar. But what I'm excited to tell you guys is I am going to be playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I am going to have a day of release, and it's going to be my very first Xenoblade game, and I am going to play it to completion. I don't know. I doubt I'm going to 100% the game, but I'm going to beat the main story. I actually really like the story we got in the recent story trailer, and I love JRPGs, and I feel like now's the time for me to jump back into JRPGs, and I'm going to do it with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You might argue I should do it with the first one, but too bad, so sad. I'm starting with 2, and it'll be an interesting perspective when I talk about that game then, because it'll be from someone, hey, look, is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 a good game to jump into if you've never played X or Xenoblade Chronicles the original? So it'll be a fun ride. So I can't really answer any questions about that in relation to prior games, because I didn't play prior games. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. Oh, we got some hidden stuff here. Oh, if you keep swearing, man, I'm going to have to remove you from, like, the way that you're swearing. I'm going to have to remove you from the group if you keep doing that. Land in the gate. Let me guess an Xbox question. Do you think Switch will outsell the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? Okay, well, at least it wasn't just an Xbox question. It'll outsell the Xbox One. Well, I'm gonna reserve. Here's the thing: we don't actually know. Like Nintendo's planning to create 30 million units next year, which means they probably plan to sell through at least 20 to 25 million of those units, especially if they launch in China. I think that's the big thing right now. Will it outsell the PlayStation 4? I don't know. PlayStation 4 could crack 100 million units by the end, which Switch might also crack, but will it surpass it? I don't know. I think it's going to be close with PlayStation 4 and Switch. Potentially close. Obviously, we haven't even had the first holiday for Switch, so who knows how well it's really going to do. Will it pass the Xbox One? Probably. I feel like what Xbox is doing, especially with the X, is they're just going for the high-end market, which is a smaller market. It's a market that matters, for sure, but it's a smaller market, and I feel like what I actually put this in a comment on a video recently. Nintendo's going to be the only hybrid system. Then you're going to have PlayStation. They're going to be making like the mass market home console. And then Microsoft, I think they're conceding, and they're going to go with, we're just going to make the high-end home console that is better than what, for the money is better than what you can have on a PC, but is obviously at a price point that is going to limit it to just like the highest end consumers. And that's fine. I feel like there's a place for mass market, high end, and a hybrid. You see this in the phone market as well. So I feel like, yeah, there's definitely a market for it. They're all going to do decently well. Xbox One, just by nature of what it is, will have a smaller market. And I think Switch will pass that. And I think whether PlayStation 4 or Switch comes out on top, who knows? PlayStation 4 is a huge head start, and we don't know when and if Switch will be replaced one day. So, and we have no idea when PlayStation 5 is coming. So that will have a big say on final tallies for PlayStation 4. So I don't know. Switch could pass both of them. Probably will pass Xbox One. PlayStation 4, I think, is up in the air. Because even though Switch has been blowing up, PlayStation 4 sales haven't slowed down because of it. Switch is just selling better. But it's also launch year. And after the first 2 years, our sales going to start really dipping like they did for Wii and DS. I don't know. Actually, I think DS had 3 really, really huge years in a row, if I remember right. So, anyways, let's see what some other questions are going on here. Lorcan O'Reilly, thank you. I think this is the first time I've ever answered one of your questions. It says, do you think we will have Luigi's Mansion 3 on Switch? I hope so. I liked Dark Moon. I don't think Dark Moon was quite as good as the original Luigi's Mansion, but it was really damn good. I'm hoping that we get a Luigi's Mansion 3. Because why the hell not? It is such a good... Luigi has deserved his own franchise for so many years. Luigi's Mansion is a brilliant use of the character and the story. Yes, please. You know what sucks? My dinner is just sitting over here getting cold. I decided to wait to eat so I sound a little better. Not like I have saliva and garlicky chewiness to my voice. Because I'm having pizza fries. It's really weird. I haven't had pizza fries in like 4 years. But happened to see some in my freezer, so I'm like, cool, I'm going to eat them. Because why the hell not? I love pizza fries. At least I used to love pizza fries. Duo Master says, Nate, I know you don't keep up with Sony much. Sure I do. The thing is, I don't know everything that came up from PSX, but I keep up with Sony. Or Paris Games Week, I think it was. But I keep up with Sony. I keep up with the whole industry. I just keep, I know more detailed information about Nintendo because I have to look it up for my job and stuff here. But I keep up with Sony and Microsoft and PC and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so he says, no, you don't keep up with Sony much. Have you seen Kojima's newest venture, Death Stranding? What are my thoughts? I think it looks interesting. I don't think we've seen gameplay yet. Without gameplay, I don't know what to tell you. This seems like the classic Kojima teasing stuff. It could end up being fantastic. It could also just be okay. We don't know. Until we see real gameplay, I don't really have much to say. But I feel like it's got a lot of potential. Let's see here. Pizza fries, yeah. Basically, here you go. Here's what pizza fries look like. If you've never seen them, it looks like a cheese pizza, but there's actually no sauce on here. What you do is you dip them in the sauce, and basically it's a really thin crust with cheese that has been lamb basted in like garlic butter sauce before you cook it. That's the big thing. They do it before you cook it instead of after. After you cook it, it gets even greasier, and you don't want that. Yeah, and then you cut it into like these little finger things, and then you dip it in and you eat it. It's actually really good. So usually the sauce makes it. There's a certain sauce at a certain bar that I used to go to a lot that I liked because it had a good zest to it. So that became like my favorite pizza fries because the dipping sauce was so good. But yeah. Avery Carroll says Duck Hunt 2 on Switch. Why not? I don't know why we haven't had another Duck Hunt. I thought as soon as Wii came out and they had like that plastic gun thing, and even then like just pointer controls, I don't know why we haven't gotten a Duck Hunt 2. You figure it'd be so cheap to make. They could just throw it up as an eShop title. I don't know. Land in the Gate. Do you think the PlayStation 5 will sell well? Probably. All Sony systems have sold well, pretty much. But again, don't know anything about it, so kind of hard to predict something you don't know anything about. Kind of like pizza breadsticks. A little bit like pizza breadsticks, yeah. We don't really have... See, I know what you're talking about. In my area, we don't really have pizza breadsticks. But there's some areas I've been to that have pizza breadsticks that are... I get it. I actually tried them for my first time in LA. They're pretty good. You assumed you meant... Yeah, fry. If you type in pizza fries into Google, it'll literally show you what I just showed you, basically. A bunch of different variations on that. This one is actually the Jack's variety. Like, if you ever seen frozen Jack's pizza at the store, this is the Jack's variety of pizza fries. So... Ryoko Chan says, what do you think the upcoming system sellers for Switch will be? That's a very good question. Well, this month it's all about third parties, right? So I think Skyrim is probably going to be the biggest mover of Switches this month. I feel like that it's just an evergreen title that just keeps selling, and this is the first time it's on a Nintendo platform. And there's a lot of people that own Switch that want that on the go. I think that's going to perform very well. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I don't know. Xenoblade has never been like a huge selling game for Nintendo, so we'll see. I don't think that's going to be a system seller. You know, if we're talking about like Mario Odyssey and Zelda levels, Pokemon, Smash Bros. There's very few games Nintendo has that move the kind of units that Zelda and Mario can. Pokemon is one that can actually move more units. Mario Kart's another, already out. Smash, which we don't know what they're doing with that yet, so that's a potential one that they could drop on us anytime next year. And then after that, Animal Crossing could probably move a decent amount of units. Animal Crossing's pretty popular. Fire Emblem's starting to regain some steam since Awakening and Fates and now Warriors. And then there's Fire Emblem Heroes on a phone, so that could be kind of a mover. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, they said Pokemon might come out in 2018, so that would be like the huge mover next year. And that could explain why they're like, oh, we got to have 30 million units ready because like Pokemon's going to hit that fiscal year. It might be even if it doesn't hit in 2018, the or later part could just be early 2019, which would still be fiscal year 2018, 2019, which would still move an insane amount of units. But yeah. Xenox official. Do I think EA will hop back on Switch again? Bringing Battlefront and Titanfall? Nope. I don't think it. I think Switch could move 300 million units and EA would still avoid it. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that EA just doesn't like. Ever since whatever got soured with that Nintendo unprecedented partnership thing with their Origin thing and wanting to like make it all work, like be the backbone of the Wii U or whatever happened behind the scenes. I think EA is kind of like, we like money, but we don't think our games can make money on that platform. So, and do not say none of EA's games are good because they actually have quite a few good games. Hello, Battlefield World War I. That game's awesome. I'm sorry, you can like say what you want. That game is fantastic. And you can thank that game's existence for Call of Duty World War II being so good because they literally saw, oh crap, look what they're doing. We should go do something like that. Let me see. Meep Sweep, would I like to see Phoenix Wright on the Switch? Duh. Who wouldn't? I mean, if you like Phoenix Wright games, you want to see them on Switch. So yeah, of course, I enjoy them. So, Orbiter1 says, are the normal big games like Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon even big in China? Well, we don't know. They haven't allowed console sales there in a long time. Now, Nintendo did have like some IQ items that were like their N64, their Game Boy, blah, 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 blah. But we don't have any sales data for any of that because it was kind of all underneath the old Chinese law. So don't know. What we know is that MOBAs are very huge in China, which is why Nintendo probably partnered with Tencent, which is like the most profitable gaming company in China right now. So yeah, We'll see. Pokemon's probably going to do well. Pokemon does well everywhere, so apparently they really like mobile gaming as well, so that's why Switch could also be huge in China. I think Switch is going to be just fine in China. They've been cut off from gaming for so long. Like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and Pokemon Switch, like these things are going to blow their minds. Not that there hasn't been a black market there this whole time, but you know what I mean. Plenty of people don't participate in the black markets, so... let me see. Ryo-chan says, what do you think Fire Emblem will look like? Will they keep the style they went with on 3DS or go back to the more traditional art style? Whatever you saw in Fire Emblem Warriors, I expect it to look very similar to that. Kind of anime, like basically mostly an anime slash with a touch of realism in there. I feel like that's what they're going to do. Let me see here. So many questions. Not a Christian server. We're not, even though I am a Christian, we're not like, oh my God, this is a Christian channel. That's not the case. Land on the Gate says, what do you think is the most underrated and overrated consoles? Are we talking about of all time? Clarify that question. Are we talking about of all time or are we talking about just current gen? So once you clarify that, I'll be able to talk about what's more overrated, what's more underrated, blah, blah, blah. All right. Scroll up and see if I can grab one of those questions that I was scrolling past because we got so many guys chatting a ton. If you want to ensure your question also gets answered, if you head over to twitch.tv/Nintendo Prime TV, we are also streaming over there, and there's nobody in the chat over there right now, so I will see your questions over there easier than I will see them in the YouTube chat, since the YouTube chat's moving so fast. Let's see here. I'm just trying to find a question. So I'll scroll down. Do I think Sony will get to 79 million? I think they're at like 70 right now. 9 million more. I think they're going to fall short of that. I think it's more like going to be like 75, 76 million by March. I don't see them having as big of a holiday this year as maybe they've had in the past. I could be wrong. So Red Chaos 173 says, Konami said that they want to make a new Castlevania game on Switch, which is awesome. Also, rumor has it that Blizzard are going to port Overwatch on Switch early 2018. Red Chaos, do you have a link to that rumor of Overwatch? I actually want to do some research into that. If that turns out to be something that I feel is legit, I might make a video on it tonight. So I love Overwatch. I don't play it as much as I should, but I do own it on PC. I love it, love it, love it. Let's see here. Landing Gate of all time. So he's talking about what's my most overrated and underrated consoles of all time. That's tough. Thinking of all the consoles. I mean, probably, I think Sega Game Gear. I know it's a portable console, but I'm going to count that. I think that's the most underrated. I think if it wasn't for the battery life, Game Gear could have trounced all over Game Boy Color and stuff. But, God, everything I played on Game Gear was just fantastic. It was like such a huge... It literally felt like a Genesis in my pocket. It was such a big leap over what Game Boy was doing at the time. And I feel like it just went really underappreciated. Like, I'd say Dreamcast, but I think a lot of people realize how awesome Dreamcast's library was. So many great games in such a little amount of time. And the reason Dreamcast, quote-unquote bombed actually isn't the fault of the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast itself was selling really, really well. It sold like almost 10 million units in its first year. Like, that's really good. It's just because of prior mistakes, it didn't matter. But yeah, Game Gear. In terms of most overrated, most overrated. I'm going to go with PlayStation 1. I feel like PlayStation 1 was great for what it was at the time. And it obviously had some good games and some good third-party support. But I feel like, at the time anyways, a lot of people were like, oh, it's so much better than Nintendo systems. It really wasn't. Now, PlayStation 2 is where they got a lot of stuff right. PlayStation 1, to me, felt like that was like the start. It was the experimental system, but it wasn't like this big smash hit like NES. I feel like a lot of people have overrated PlayStation 1 a lot. I don't think Sony really got the ball rolling until PlayStation 2 hit. Now, I know PlayStation 1 sold very, very well. I'm not questioning the sales of it. I just wasn't that impressed by it. Especially for what they were touting at the time about how much better it was than Nintendo's platforms. Obviously, I have bias towards Nintendo platforms, but I just didn't think PlayStation 1 was as impressive as people made it out to be. Dual Master says, how many years do you think Nintendo should wait to make Mario Kart 9 on Switch? If they do, or do you think Nintendo should just release more Mario Kart 8 content? I don't think they're going to release Mario Kart 9 at all. Not on this platform. Switch 2. I think Mario Kart 9 could be a launch game for Switch 2. So, at least that's what I would do right now. You already brought over Deluxe, which is amazing. Just keep updating that a little bit. Maybe add some new characters. But throw Mario Kart 9 as a launch game. Because I don't think a new Zelda or Mario is going to be ready for launch. At least I hope not. I hope we're getting another generation of Mario and Zelda on current Switch. So get Mario Kart 9 ready for launch. I think that could be a huge launch game. Let me see. Avery Carroll says, do I think a new Star Fox would be good on Switch? If they go back to the OG Star Fox formula and dump the motion controls. The problem is there's motion controls on Switch, so I don't think they would dump it. I'm hoping even if they include like Star Fox Zero's motion controls, make them optional. That's all they had to do is make it optional. If they've just made it optional, I had no problem, because there were aspects, especially when you played 2-player, where the motion controls were actually kind of nice. But it should have just been this optional thing. They forced it upon us. I'm all about options. Give us options. Like, even Odyssey gave you options. You could turn off the motion controls entirely and just do everything with the hat with the stick. But yeah, it should just be optional. Options, options, options. What do I think of Starlink Battle for Atlas? Eric Sumariba says, I think it looks awesome. I don't know if I'm into the building the ship in real life thing, just because I don't think I'm going to buy all the parts for it. But I think it looks a lot like Rogue Squadron. I don't know about you. When I was watching the gameplay, I'm like, oh my god, this is Rogue Squadron. Do they hire the people from the Rogue Squadron team? Because I love Rogue Squadron, and that's what it looks like, so I'm pretty pumped. We'll see if it lives up to that, but obviously it has, you know, different things like customizing your ship and everything. But yeah, I'm excited. Let's see here. Wait, Xenoblade Ultimate Keymasters. Wait, Xenoblade 2 has the season pass? Yep. I don't think there's anything wrong. I mean, it's a JRPG, big story, heavy focus thing. Nintendo's kind of into the season pass thing. They were late to the game with it. And now a lot of their games are going to have season. I'm actually surprised Odyssey doesn't have a season pass, but that doesn't mean it won't get it eventually and get some DLC. But Duel Master, didn't Blizzard already say no to Overwatch on Switch? Maybe, but people change minds. You know, they might have said that like earlier this year before Switch blew up, and now they might be like, maybe we should do it. Companies lie all the time. Nintendo lies all the time. So, Ryuka Chan says, Pikmin 4, when will it was revealed? When will it was revealed? Well, one, it was never revealed. What was revealed is that the game has basically been done for a long time. I feel like, I don't know why they're waiting. I don't know if it got canned. I don't know what's happening with that game. But if it's done, it obviously got ported to the Switch, and maybe they're doing more with it. That feels like a game that could be the biggest, you know, like a big surprise next year. That's not really a surprise because we know the game's been done for a couple of years. So, Grime It Up says, what do I think the eShop sale will be like on Black Friday? Decent. Bunch of indie games will be on sale. Nintendo won't discount any of their games, despite the fact that you can actually get like the new Adventurers Breath of the Wild game that comes with like the map and the guide and stuff for like $50. But they're not. Nintendo doesn't really put sales on their games. So Snipper Clips, I guess, might be on sale. But yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of indie games, and you'll probably see some third parties. You know, we already know that FIFA 18 is going to be $30 at Best Buy, so potentially EA will discount FIFA 18 to $30 on Black Friday on the eShop. Don't know. Basically, I think everyone that wants to participate in the sales will, except for Nintendo, because they just don't put their stuff on sale very much, especially year one. Blizzard would have announced Overwatch at BlizzCon if it was coming, potentially. What you have to remember is Nintendo really likes to control game announcements, and because Overwatch could be considered a big announcement, they might have been like, hey, let's save that for a Nintendo Direct in January. You got to remember, Nintendo's very, like, not controlling. Like, if they wanted to announce it at BlizzCon, Nintendo would have let them, but Nintendo would have like, hey, look, you can announce this at BlizzCon, but none of our fans are paying attention to BlizzCon. So how about we announce this at our own Nintendo Direct, and then next year's BlizzCon you could do Switch announcements, because then Switch fans will actually pay attention to BlizzCon. Because seriously, how many Switch owners were honestly watching BlizzCon this year? Probably not very many. And I play Blizzard games, and I wasn't watching BlizzCon. So, I know about a bunch of the World of Warcraft news out of it because I'm a Warcraft player, but a Warcraftian, as it were. Let's see here. Game Gear was great for watching TV on the bus. Do you detest nose hairs? That's my question. That's so annoying long. I don't like nose hairs. I mean, I have some. I trim them. I try to keep up on trimming them. I probably need to get new nose hair trimmers. I've been using the same ones for like 8 years, and I know the blade's dull on it, and I tried looking up like a replacement blade for it, and it just doesn't exist because it's an old model. But every other nose hair trimmer I have bought since has not done as good of a job. So I'm kind of waiting for a good nose hair trimmer that's better than my dull one that I still use. And I also use it, like, I get ear hairs. I don't know if this is normal. I've never seen anyone else with ear hair like I get like really long hair right along here in my ears, so I use it to trim that as well. And for some reason when I shave, I didn't shave today. I don't know if you can tell by the 5 o'clock shadow. But for some reason, this spot right here, no matter how many times I get it with my razor, I never get it perfect, and then right on the corners. So I kind of use my nose hair trimmer for all that stuff. I used to use it to thin out my eyebrows, but now whenever I get my hair cut, I just have them thin out my brows because it's easier for them. David Tapia, here's a good question. Do you think Nintendo will do VR games? Not now. Obviously, they've tested it because they sent in a patent for it. I feel like Switch 2, if the technology is there to Nintendo's satisfaction and affordability, I think the Switch 2 would be when Nintendo dips into VR. They'll probably do it after everyone's already abandoned VR because that's just what they do. But if they do that, they're going to do it in a way that's even more affordable than the PlayStation VR right now, which is like to get the best PlayStation VR experience right now, you have to own a PlayStation 4 Pro. You have to spend $400 on PlayStation VR to get the headset and the camera. And then you have to obviously set that all up and be tethered. And I feel like Nintendo feels like the tethering thing is kind of like this big no-no, but then how phones do it isn't exactly perfect either. So they're trying to find like this balance, and it's just not there. The technology, I don't think, is there yet for Nintendo to be happy with it. And that's what, to be fair, that's what Nintendo has said this whole time too. They're like, hey, look, I think VR is great. We just don't think it's there yet. So I'm just going off their own words. They don't think it's there yet, so they're probably not going to do it now on Switch. Spagman, welcome to the stream. He says, with PlayStation 4's and the Xbox One's lifespan ending soon, and the next generation just around the corner, do you think PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2 will push Nintendo to make a new Nintendo Switch? Very interesting question. I think Nintendo already has a plan to release like a Nintendo Switch XL with the Tegra X2 anyways in 2 to 3 years. So I don't think anything those companies do is going to make Nintendo upgrade. I think Nintendo has a clear upgrade path already that they're going to follow. I feel like every 2 to 3 years there's going to be a new Switch. I think they're going to do like the phone model, except for there being a new phone every year. It'll be every 2 to 3 years. And all of the games will be compatible across all systems. And then once they get a couple generations out, the original Switch, like new games that come out will no longer work on that Switch, like just like on phones. So, yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to do that regardless of what PlayStation 4 and 5 and Xbox 2 and whatever those companies do. But because they do that, they can upgrade faster, which is going to make them stay more competitive with those platforms to be able to get third-party games. Because I feel like that's what they could risk losing is third-party games. The Dreamcast flopped because of PlayStation 2. Completely disagree because the Dreamcast factually sold very, very well in the 1 year it was on the market. You can't have really, really good sales and then call it a flop. It flopped because of their prior decisions. They were so in debt. The games were selling well, the system was selling well, but it didn't matter. It just did not matter. Sega was going under before the Dreamcast even released. There was nothing they could have did to fix it, except just stop making hardware. And they made a quick change to try to go multi-platform. It worked. Good for them. What's my favorite Zelda dungeons? Asks Patrick Martin. My favorite Zelda dungeon? I haven't thought about that in a long time. Man, I love the Great Palace in Zelda 2. Lake Bed Temple. I really liked Lake Bed Temple a lot. I like the Spirit Temple a lot. No Ocarina of Time. You know, I'm gonna go with the Stone Tower Temple from Majora's Mask. I think that's. I just like that whole mechanic and flipping the dungeon and everything. It was just really cool. I just like Majora's Mask a lot in general, but Stone Tower Temple. I'm gonna go with that. My favorite Zelda dungeon. Is there? David Tappy says, "Is there a new Nintendo Direct coming in December or January?" I just had to ask. If you base it on history, it's coming in January. Like right after the holidays is over, first week or two of January. They've been doing Nintendo Directs, so that's when they'll do one if they do one at all. Like a full direct, not like an individual game direct. Like if they somehow have like a digital game coming out in the middle of December, they could do like a little direct for that. But in terms of like announcement direct, that'll be January. They usually don't do that stuff before Christmas. Got to remember though, the Game Awards is coming out, and Nintendo has done something big at the Game Awards every single year, so we could see a game announcement at the Game Awards. That's something to pay attention to. Heck, it could be the first time they show off Metroid Prime or Pokemon or something. I mean, you just pay attention to the Game Awards. Nintendo's done something big there every year. Bet you they're going to do something big now, because why wouldn't they? They're like the hot ticket item this year. They really should have some sort of announcement ready for the Game Awards, which is in December. I can't remember the date right now, but I know it's in December. Let's see. Who do I think will win the 9th gen? Don't know. Not there. What do I think is the worst name of a console? Wii U. It's got to be Wii U. Because Wii U makes the whole system sound like an accessory to the Wii. So, yeah. Wii U. Regardless of the advertising, the actual name is just bad. David Tapia, do you think E3 is going to promote newer games? Yeah, of course. It does that every year, so I don't know why they would do anything different. Let me see. Just scrolling down here. You guys are talking like crazy. Landon the Gate says the Dreamcast was selling like hotcakes until the PlayStation 2 came. Here's a fun fact though. When you watch those history videos about Dreamcast, what they don't tell you is Sega's financials before the Dreamcast launched. Sega was basically bankrupt. They didn't declare it, but they were basically bankrupt before Dreamcast launched. And before PlayStation 2 came out, Sega had already stopped producing Dreamcast units. So you can say PlayStation 2 killed Dreamcast, but they weren't even manufacturing Dreamcast units anymore by the time PlayStation 2 came out. So, like, they had already made the decision before they publicly announced it. So it had really nothing to do with that. Just based on the research I have done. It's not like Sega's come out and made an official statement like that, but based on what I've looked at, PlayStation 2 it didn't really matter. Dreamcast like rocked PlayStation 2 in terms of like capabilities and stuff, but unfortunately, Sega made so many bad decisions before Dreamcast. Dreamcast, if they could, I mean, it was a little bit ahead of its time as well, but love Dreamcast. Dreamcast is so good. That's why I said like it can't be an underrated system when everyone who's ever touched one says it's awesome. I haven't watched any videos. You're glued to the Nate Live video. What do I think of the new direct format compared to Iwata's format? Very good question, Erickson. I think the new direct format represents a new direction for the company, which I think is what Switch represents. So I feel like it fits the new direction of Nintendo. I'm always going to miss the personal touch, right? That's what you're missing. The new direct format is very much like an E3 or like a newscast kind of thing. Here's a list of topics, and we're just going to go one by one to each topic, and here's a couple question marks with surprises. And I like it. It works. I think it's very efficient for getting the information across and building hype for future topics. But they're always going to miss something about the personality. The thing is, they're doing it right because you can't replace Iwata the person You can't, even with Reggie, like Reggie would be the closest you can get. You're not going to be able to replace the personality that is Satoru Iwata, doing those crazy things. Like even the puppets, on the E3 before he died. Like, you're not going to be able to get that kind of personality again. So I feel like what they're doing now is a good representation for what Nintendo is today. And is a good representation for the kind of person Tatsumi Kimishima is, who is someone who very much does not want to be out in front of the public as like the face of the company, even though he knows he is the literal face of the company, but he doesn't want to put himself out there. He's very much a businessman, not so much a guy who's like, hey, I'm a game developer, I'm a gamer, I'm a this, I'm a that. Like, no, he's a business guy. So he's very good at what he does, so just let him keep doing. Good luck. You've nailed everything with Switch so far. The marketing, all that happened under you. So, and I said, the new direct format seems to fit very well with the clean presentation of Switch. Again, I don't know when the Game Awards is. Someone asked when the Game Awards is. You can look it up. I usually check around the end of November. I mean, I follow Jeff Keighley on Twitter, so I usually see some tweets about it. But, you spent 510 hours on Splatoon? Or Splatoon 2? Either way, that's impressive. I mean, it's a multiplayer game. It's like endless, right? So, David Tapia with another question. Nate, my question is, do you think Pyro... Oh, wait, no. Sorry. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not talking about characters being thick and big booties. Like, I can't... Why? Dude, they're like... The thing is, like that was true, too, of a certain character in ARMS. I get it, the thick thing. I understand it. I make jokes about it at times, but... I mean, animated characters, man, they don't really do anything for me. Not like, oh my god, I stare at them nonstop. Okay, no, they're not real people. Now, certain movies and certain actresses, I have my attractions, but yeah, characters, I can take my eyes off. It's not a big deal. It's just part of their body. Land of the Gate, favorite Mario game. That's a tough one. It's a toss-up right now between Super Mario World and Galaxy 2. But I'm going to tell you right now that depending on how post-game goes for Odyssey, Odyssey is in contention to be my favorite Mario game. It's in contention. But I have to experience more of it before I can make that kind of a statement. Nick Figure says, Nate, put yourself in Mario's shoes. Keep on rescuing Peach or settle for the Pauline thickness. You guys and the thickness. Seriously. Here's the thing. I don't think settling for Pauline is settling. I think it's very, very clear that Peach does not want to marry Mario because literally Mario's had all these opportunities and Peach walks away every time. It's called Take the Hint. Peach is a tease. Peach is the ultimate tease. Peach doesn't actually want to be with Mario, but she likes stringing Mario along. And if you're a guy who's ever known a woman like that, like this happens in real life. I actually had a girl when I was a little younger, in my younger adult years, that never wanted to actually be with me, but they would string me along to make me believe they wanted to be with me. And I feel like that's what Peach does. So I don't think like it's settling for Pauline. I think Pauline is probably the superior choice because if Pauline wants to be with Mario, she ain't going to tease him to the end of Earth. She's just going to say, hey, I love you, Mario. Let's get married. That's what I think anyways. Obviously, we don't know what Pauline would do because Pauline hasn't been around in so long until Odyssey. But Peach is like the ultimate tease, which I hate teases. Teases just are not good. Let's see here. Blake, You said you haven't paid attention to Pokemon since Gen 2. Yeah, roughly Gen 2. I think back then I might have like paid attention to Gen 3 before it came out. But I haven't really played, like invested in games since Gen 2. Was it a particular thing that drove you away, or was it a natural progression? First thing that drove me away was the massive influx of new Pokemon. I was okay with some additional Pokemon in Gen 2. Gen 3, to me, felt overwhelming. That's the first thing that drove me away. I'll just leave it at that. There were additional things, but that was the chief thing right away. Was the influx of new Pokemon was ridiculous. Way too fast. And like even now, the fact that there's 760 plus Pokemon or something like that, way too many. That's the one thing that makes me almost not want to play Pokemon on Switch. It's just too many Pokemon, because to me the thrill of Pokemon was gotta catch them all. But when you make the gotta catch them all this unrealistic, unattainable number, where even now you can't even get all the Pokemon in game, you have to like go to special events. Like, this is stupid. It's stupid. Why? You should be able, between both Pokemon games, to get every single Pokemon. And I realize, oh, you can go on the bank, oh, you can get modified Pokemon. I don't care about any of that. You should be able to attain them on your own if you own both games. But there's so many Pokemon that that's not the case. So it really frustrates me. So much so that I think only a reboot would really fully satisfy me. But we'll see. Pokemon Switch will be interesting. Let me see. Still got that song stuck in my head, even though I don't know all the words. I should know the words by now. I've heard that song so many times. You don't have the... Okay, so Dave Tappy says he doesn't have the receipt for your Wii U, but I wonder if GameStop will exchange it for cash for points or something. The only reason you need your receipt is, one, if your Wii U is broken. Two, if you just recently bought your Wii U and you want to return it for full value. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. If it's just a Wii U you've had for a while, it works fine, you just want to trade it in, you don't need the receipt for that. Trade it in, and yeah, do it for... You can do it for cash if you want. You won't get as much... I said most of my video games I've had to sell for cash because I've needed it for other things. But if you want to, trade it in for... if you hit them on a good trade-in deal, you can end up actually getting quite a bit of money for your Wii U, and get a bunch of games too. So I know a lot of people, crap on GameStop, but sometimes those trade-in deals, if you hit them at the right time, they had one a few months back where like I traded in 6 Switch games, and I almost got $300 worth of in-store credit. Like, that's just insane value, because there's no way in heck I would have got that selling those games through eBay. That kind of money. Anyways, and that was cash, by the way, cash value. Granted, I needed the cash to pay rent, but just happened to get lucky with that deal at the time. Let's see here. Landon the Gate wants to know, what PlayStation 4 games am I going to get when I get a PlayStation 4? The Last of Us. Well, The Last of Us 2 as well, after I beat The Last of Us. The entire Uncharted collection. You know what? Probably the entire... I gotta play Uncharted first to make sure I like it, but probably the entire Uncharted collection. The Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. The Last Guardian. Kingdom Hearts 3, because I don't think it's actually going to come to Switch. My MLB The Show, whatever the new version is at the time, because I love baseball. I love sports games. So, and I think the Ratchet and Clank game. I think that one looks really good too. That's probably the first ones I would pick up. Then after that, we'll see. I'll probably try out Bloodborne eventually. Lots of games to get. And thankfully, they should all be pretty cheap by the time I get a PlayStation 4, since those are just older games besides Kingdom Hearts 3. So, sorry, I gotta take a drink. I know I should have water right now. I actually kind of want water, not soda, but I don't have any water next to me. I got to start doing that for these streams. Eric Sommer says, do you think we'll ever get a return to form for Paper Mario? I really like Color Splash, and they can refine the formula, but I desperately want a 1,000-Year Door style RPG. I don't know. I don't know. Nintendo does some weird things with certain spin-off IPs. I mean, they kind of did it with Mario Party as well. They kind of like wrecked the Mario Party franchise. I think the Top 100 is a nice way to try to revive the franchise, but we'll see. I don't think we're ever going to get a return to the 1,000-Year Door style, though. I just don't think, unless they remaster that and get a new team on it to realize what made that game so good. It's so timeless, really. That game is just timeless. So I don't think they're going to do that, but if they did it, they would need to remaster that one first, bring it into HD, and then whatever team did that, work on the next one. But I just, whatever it's been is what they're going to keep it going as. And Color Splash was decent. It was decent. It wasn't terrible. It's just not 1,000-Year Door. David Tapia, hey, my question is, do you think Bowser could have wore it better in black or white for his wedding? I'm looking over at my Bowser amiibo right now, the wedding one. Dude, I love white. In fact, after Mario Odyssey, I might wear white at my wedding. A white suit. Who am I kidding? I gotta wear baby blue, right? I gotta wear Nintendo Prime Blue. I know I have to wear Nintendo Prime Blue. But man, that white suit is fly. I just love white suits. It takes a lot of courage to wear a white suit because of how easy it is to stain and get dirty. But, well, I like the white suit. Let's see here. Oh, hey, we had a new super chat. For €2, it looks like. I think it's either Lorcan or Iorcan. I'm not sure if that's I or L at the beginning. O'Reilly. Good night, folks. Late in Ireland. Good night, man. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad I actually maybe this is why I'm getting some new people, because I started this Q&A before 10 o'clock at night. So I'm getting some people who would be late night for them, but they were up early enough to watch. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you had a good time. Thank you for your super chat. Thanks for your support. All right. Well, it looks like the questions are starting to slow down. I'll give you guys a few minutes to ask more questions if you want. Otherwise, we're going to end up calling that a night for our Q&A. Kind of a short Q&A this time, but that's all right. I have food I want to eat too. Got to get to it eventually. Although I still might not touch it till closer to the Bucks game. We'll see. I know there's stream delay, so it's going to take a little bit for you guys' questions to get through to me if you're going to ask more. Oh, Nick Figures did ask, I could check this out. Did you think at least something Pokemon Switch related will be at next year's E3? Yes. I think they're going to show Pokemon Switch at next year's E3. Landon on the Gate says, did you know GameStop almost sold out of all of its Xbox One X stock on launch day? Yep, but that's not surprising. Most new hardware launches sell out. So it didn't sell out entirely, which, whatever, the holiday's coming up. So Xbox One X is going to be sold out this holiday. And that's fine. I mean, PlayStation 4 Pro was sold out too. So, I mean, everyone, the people want their new toys. I want an Xbox One X. So, like, people want their new toys. I'm a tech enthusiast. I want one. Probably because that's the platform I would play Assassin's Creed Origins on, if I'm being honest. Even though the PC version apparently is okay. Might be one of the better Assassin's Creed PC versions. Blake says, I'm wanting to start a Nintendo-based channel, like mine. Oh, cool. But I don't feel sufficiently informed yet. What's your best advice for staying on top of Nintendo-related news as it happens? Ooh. Best advice. Well, one, have a smartphone. Two, have your Twitter app and have all, like, you want to know how I stay up to date? It's not a 100% foolproof thing. I still need to come on my computer a lot. My smartphone, I don't even know. Like right now on my smartphone, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have over 40 notifications on my smartphone right now from when I started this stream, which actually is kind of low. For an hour and a half, that's not that many. But these notifications are from Twitter. These notifications are from YouTube. These notifications are from Reddit. Basically, I follow all the big Nintendo stuff on Twitter, Reddit, blah, 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 and I have my phone set to give me notifications whenever there's a new tweet from Nintendo, a new tweet from Nintendo of Japan, or Zelda of Japan, or Monster Hunter, or Capcom, or this or that, or certain news sites like Nintendo Everything and Go Nintendo, when they tweet out their stuff. I want to see the tweets right away. That's one way. Obviously, all the Reddit threads I follow. I'm also on Reset Era. I check that a lot. They're kind of like a replacement for what I wanted NeoGAF to be. So far, so good there, but we'll see if that lasts. Yeah, it's been a lot of stuff like that. That's kind of how I keep up to date. And having it all come to your smartphone is key because obviously I don't expect anyone to, when you start out on YouTube, you're not going to be doing this for a living. Right now, I don't even technically do YouTube for a living. I have another job at the computer, but I'm fortunate enough that both my jobs, I can sit at the computer so I can check this stuff all day long. But having it come to your phone is huge. Like, how did I know about the one thing I did last night about the 30 million Switch units? I was laying in bed, unable to sleep, and I'm looking at my phone. All of a sudden, boop, notification pops up, and I'm like, what? And it was from a person I follow on Twitter. So that's kind of how I do it. It's a pain in the butt because there's a lot of places you have to follow, and you have to accept that you're pretty much going to keep your phone on silent all the time because you're going to get a zillion and one notifications. But seriously, I probably get over 7,000 notifications a day. That's why I said, 40 notifications, that's nothing. I get so much more than that. A lot of it I ignore. You know, I basically go through the list like here's a Facebook memories thing that's got nothing to do with what I care about. You know, my sister asking me about Christmas list, I have to check that. But yeah, I mean, here's all the Nintendo YouTube channel updates. So yeah, that's how I stay up to date. I don't know if that's good to get started. Basically, you should find a niche that you want. If you don't want to do cover news like I do, then you don't have to go that intense. You gotta kind of decide what you want to be as a channel. It's really hard to just copy another channel and just be that channel because that channel already exists. And I feel like there is a lot of Nintendo channels out there, but I feel like there's none that are quite like mine, if that makes sense. None of them exactly like me. Which reminds me, that arguing with myself thing. I'm going to ask the guy about it right now, the guy who's working on my animation thing for it. Because he was supposed to have that to me last week. Literally, I'm waiting on him. I want to get this edited so I can delete the videos off my computer because I need the hard drive space. Austin Rona says, how do I feel about game developers making their games too easy for players? What's too easy? Some people don't care about the difficulty of games. It kind of depends. Is it a franchise that's known for being super difficult? If it's not a franchise known for being super difficult, then it doesn't matter if it's easy. Some people just enjoy the ride. They don't care how easy it is. So I don't know. There's certain games I like even some hard games, like on Doom. I don't know. When I play Doom, I might play it through on easy. Don't care. It's about the experience and the fun. And thanks, Blake. Right now, I'm usually the first source you hear things from. Yep. That's great. I'm glad that's the case. I know that I'm not always the first YouTuber to get some of this stuff up, but being timely on it is key. And the fact that both of my jobs, including YouTube, require me to be at my computer at my house in my home office, And so I don't leave the house as much as I should, if that makes sense. That's one way I'm able to post stuff so fast. Is I'm here all day long every day. Like 7 days a week. That's what I do. I mean, I spend time with my kids, of course, and my fiance, but I don't get out of the house that much. Kind of sucks. Like, I want to go to the new Thor movie. Can't afford it right now. But, yeah, last time I left the house was the grocery shop this morning, and before that, I hadn't left the house in like a week. Kind of sad. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad when you think about it. Kind of depressing. Land on the Gate, least favorite game of all time. I don't know. I mean, Superman 64, but that feels like a cop-out because like a lot of people would say it's like one of the worst games ever. And I don't even think that's the worst game. There's games you can't even get past the title screen. Pretty much any game that's just literally broken when you launch it. There used to be a ton of them on PC back in the 90s. Oh, it was bad. You would launch it and it just wouldn't even work. And it's not because you had to configure things correctly or anything. It's just the game was that broken. Literally no computer could run it. And there's a bunch of games like that, but I don't remember what they're called. That's okay. You have no more questions. That's cool. Let's see here. Have I played Patrick Martin? Have I played Shenmue? No, I have not. But after seeing I think it's Shenmue 3 or whatever they're doing that Kickstarter campaign for, seeing a little bit of that, I'm very interested. Definitely one of those games that I need to experience before I die kind of things. Land on the Gate, do I think you're a fanboy? I've literally called you a fanboy in the comments. So yes, I think you're a fanboy. Avery Carroll, what's the best game on Switch? Why are you making me pick one? It's currently undecided right now. Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time currently. So, obviously, I'm going to say Breath of the Wild, but Super Mario Odyssey, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Splatoon 2, Stardew Valley, Golf Story. Oh, I mean, there's just the list goes on and on and on. Sorry, I can't pick one just now. I'm still undecided between Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, believe it or not. I think Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is the best exclusive so far, but Odyssey might top it. I don't know. I'm so undecided right now. It's not a good time to ask me. Ask me again at the end of the year. Then I'll be able to give you a more definitive answer on what I think is like the best Switch game from this year. Still have Xenoblade 2 coming out too, so like J Gaming, Clash, and more. I have a gaming channel, and I edit my videos and everything, and I make my videos as good as possible, and I just cannot gain any subs. Is there a way that I gain so many subs? My path to success is not one anyone should follow. 18 years of my life were spent running Legend of Zelda websites, and I gained... I wasted a lot of years of my life doing that. And I gained some attention from those, and I used that to launch Nintendo Prime. So I had a backing that I built up over 18 years running traditional media websites. That's not something I suggest people do today. It is a waste of your time. And you're probably not going to be successful. It's a highly competitive field that is dominated by too many places. It's not worth getting into. And there's a lot of YouTubers like that too. The biggest thing I could say is you just have to get noticed by someone. You can have the best titling and tagging or whatever in the world, but if no one notices you, you're not going to get attention. Now, obviously, you want to have content that is worth watching. Like, I'm actually going to look up your YouTube channel right now. I'm going to give you a shout out right now if I glance at one of your videos and I like it. Assuming that this is your your actual YouTube account, the J Gaming, Clash, and more. You have 128 subs. That's nothing. I mean, that's not nothing. Let me glance at one of your videos here. Not your popular uploads. Let me just go to your standard uploads here. Okay, so it looks like you're playing lots of Fortnite, Galaxy of Heroes. What the heck is this? All right, so I can tell you one thing. Your channel's unfocused. Why the heck am I watching Monster Energy Cup Race 2017 Las Vegas footage part 4, part 3, part 2, part 1? and then seeing Fortnite fails and opening Arena 10, Fortnite Battle Royale, Star Wars, like that. And the funny thing is, those are your highest viewed videos, are actually the Monster Energy Cup race Las Vegas. I don't know if another site posted that video up because maybe you're not supposed to record footage of it. Or maybe what's even more likely is there just isn't a lot of search results for Monster Energy Cup Race 2017. So you might be a top. In fact, I'm going to look that up right now. Are you a top search result for that? That's probably why you have so many views. So if like that's the way you want to go, like you want to cover moto racing and stunts and stuff like that, that's a direction you could take your channel, because there's not as many searches for that. Like when I looked up Monster Hunter Energy Cup Race 2017, J Gaming Clash. Let me just glance for your channel here. Just seeing if you show up on page 1, page 2. Obviously, lots of NASCAR popping up and Monster Energy Supercross. Let me look up the Las Vegas event specifically. I bet you that's what you're being found for, is Monster Hump Energy Cup Race Las Vegas, instead of generalizing for the whole year. Yep, there you are. You're like literally the #2 video for that search out of 76,800 results. So it's really about what you want your channel to be. You could see with that Monster Hunt Energy Cup, you kind of hit on a niche there. If that's something you want to do. But considering that a majority of your videos like are video game related, I'm assuming that's what you would like to do. And you really got to find your niche. That's one way, which I think you did with the Monster Energy Cup. But beyond that, it's just getting noticed. Let me look at one of your gaming videos here. Thing is, I'm not listening to your commentary though. Do you have commentary? So this is Fortnite fails. So here's what one thing I can tell you right now. In your Fortnite fails video, as an example, I'm 28 seconds in and nothing's happened yet. You need to grab people right away. That first 30 seconds when you're doing like these fail compilations and stuff, you need to have a fail happen like right away. That just like, whoa, did you see that? Ha 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 ha. Well, I'll just keep going. Like, how far in is this first fail? 33 seconds, 34, 35. I mean, still haven't seen anything yet. A minute in, nothing's happened. So you gotta grab people's attention. Still, minute 15, nothing's happened. I mean, come on, man. Like, I've already lost interest. Yeah. Like, I've already lost interest. Nothing. 2 minutes in, nothing's happened yet. So that's one thing. Is you really got to grab people's attention right away for the people who do watch your videos, and then do something interesting that lets you team up with other YouTubers. YouTubers are very, very willing to work together, and that's the best way to advertise a small channel. Why do you think I work with so many YouTubers? 5J, he's almost at 1,000 subs because he works with us. If he didn't work with us, he wouldn't be anywhere near 1,000 subs on his channel. But that's what happened because he works with us. I work with the Game Over Jesse, HMK. I've worked with Dreamcast Guy in the past. Like, working together with YouTubers that are bigger than you, but aren't like massively bigger. You could argue like Dreamcast Guy and HMK are massively bigger, but I mean, I'm not like a 100 sub guy channel. I almost have 30,000. So find a 500 sub channel, find 1,000 or 2,000 sub channel that does content similar to yours. Work together, and it'll be like free advertising. I don't know. I mean, it's difficult. It is difficult to get started, unless you can find a niche like I think you did with the Monster Hunt Energy Cup Las Vegas. Clearly, since you're the #2 rating for that search. Let me see here. True Titanium. That's awesome. All right, let me see. There's been a lot of stuff happening. That was a long explanation because I was watching that guy's video. What game do you want to get for Black Friday or for Christmas in the following month of December? Any single game that releases on Switch. Batman, the Telltale series, Rocket League. Those are 2 games I don't know if I'm going to buy next week that I want. Where would Nintendo have gone if the Switch actually failed? Do you think they'd try again? Of course they'd try again. They have enough money in the bank to try again for like 50 years. They wouldn't have gone anywhere. They would have kept making and kept making. They would have started making a lot more mobile games. You see 2 to 3 per year. They might have like 10 mobile games a year. But they would have, in the meantime, kept trying to get a new hardware hit and get popular. I don't know if they would have did, the thing is they would have still kept Switch going for 4 years, but I think they were pretty sure Switch was going to be at least a mild success. I think they assumed at least 30 million lifetime. And they're obviously going to exceed that. Do I archive streams? Yes, exclusively to our Patreon backers. Although I've been doing a bad job about that lately. I need to be better about making sure I give them all my streams. Mark Greenberg, what game do I want on Switch that hasn't been announced, and do you think it will come? That's a good question. How about a good Ninja Turtles game? And no, I don't think it's going to come. I love those. Like, Turtles in Time was so awesome. Like, why did we have to stop getting good Ninja Turtle games? All right, let me... Oh, on the channel I was checking out with J Gaming Clash and More. I was just giving a little advice on the spot. Based on... I mean, I haven't fully examined his channel. Watching one video isn't going to, be everything. When's the diet happening? That's a very good question, Manuel Gonzalez. Asking me, obviously, as I'm holding up, hey, look, this isn't very diet friendly. All right, here's what I can tell you about the diet. As soon as I'm caught up on all my bills, which if I don't lose my job running Zelda Informer's Facebook page this winter, I will be caught up by January. That's when I'll start the diet, because what I'm going to be doing for my diet is I'm actually going to be going on a meal structure plan. I already have it all planned out with Weight Watchers. And I can't afford to buy that kind of food in addition to the food my whole family eats. So once I am financially stable like that, and if the channel keeps growing, of course, for the New Year's, I'm going to start kicking off on a diet after we're about to enter the holiday season, which is really hard because it's so much good food. And I'm not going to punish myself since I haven't started the diet yet. So yeah, hopefully I'm caught up in all my bills by then, and that will be, that's kind of my target date. I know a lot of people target the new year, but I'm like, I legit want to drop about 30 or 40 pounds by summer next year. So it's like I look a little bit better when I'm jumping in that pool. All right. Okay, I'm going to end the stream on this. SUCC me says, when is your new series where you torture yourself happening? That's called Arguing with Myself. All recorded, waiting on some graphics, which the person's not getting back to me about, which kind of upsets me, but I'll have to deal with that later. All right, I'm going to head out. I'm going to probably eat my dinner here, get some stuff done. I got to get some more posts up on Zelda Informer's Facebook page, actually, so that's probably what I'm going to do next as I get ready for the Bucks game, which starts in a little over an hour. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in for this week's Q&A session. Have I met Dave Ramsey? Some of his financial... Oh, my God. Dave Ramsey. Anyways. All right, folks. I'm Nathaniel Robojets from the Nintendo Prime. If you love what we do, you can show a little love. You can subscribe to our channel. Subscribe on Twitch. Patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. Gawkbox.com/Nintendo Prime. Blah, 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 blah. Everything's down in the description below. It's been fun. It's been real. And I'll see you on next week's Q&A. Of course, you want to update right in the middle of my stream. All right, bye.